Welcome back. As I work my way through BAND-MAID's music catalog, I've now made it up to the year 2021 and the album Unseen World. In my last video, we looked at several videos, live, official music video for the song Warning, and now we're moving on to the second song on this album, which is No God. Now, as far as I know, the song No God is the only one of BAND-MAID's that has two official live music videos. I remember seeing one of them a couple of years ago, right after I got into BAND-MAID, and that one I think was from the online-only concert, that there were no fans, they were just live streaming the concert. And then I believe it was last year, or maybe just the year before, they released another official live video, which is pretty interesting to me. Now, there is not an official music video, but I do want to hear the official album audio before I look at the lives. But instead of having nothing on the screen except my face while I listen to the official audio, I'm going to look at what I believe is one of the White Room videos, which I think uses the album audio. Okay, so I made a mistake. I said I believed it was the album audio in this White Room video, but this is an instrumental version, so it's just going to be the four instrumentalists of BAND-MAID playing the song without the vocals. But since I've already pulled it up, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. I do want to say, since there's no vocals, therefore no lyrics in this version, that when I first heard the song and first saw the title, I thought, oh no, this one's going to upset a bunch of people. Because of course, anytime any band ventures into philosophical questions, especially touching on religion, you're going to, sometimes mess with people on one side of that question or the other. And this one, the title anyway, seems to be asserting that there is no God. But once you read the lyrics in full, you can be pretty certain that's not what they're asserting, especially since that last verse or bridge, says, I still believe the stories. However, I think the message of this song is contained somewhere in the middle, where the lyric says, philosophers' questions tumble through my mind. And if you read line by line through the song, it sounds like a person who is just thinking of all those deep introspective questions about why am I here and what the universe is for and so on, which hopefully won't upset anybody. But anyway, let's watch this video, and I might be surprised what it is because I haven't seen it yet. And then I know there are two official live versions. Let's go. Okay, with an instrumental version, there are fewer good places to stop it than when there's vocals. You can always wait till the vocals stop to take a breath and pause it there. But I just wanted to add that I haven't heard this song for quite some time, and so I don't remember exactly what the vocals were like, but in my memory, they were a little bit chaotic, and it seemed like there were Miku lines interrupting Saiku lines, or squeezed in between them. And I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the instrumental before, so this is very interesting and probably not the best way to start this video, but here we are. It sounds really cool so far, especially the little double bass blast right there in the intro. Let's keep going. Now that little part right there reminded me a little bit of another song that I haven't heard in a while, but I definitely remember for the chaos in it, and I think that was Black Hole. I just had to check, but yes, Black Hole is also on this album. It comes a little bit later. It's track number 12. I think, wasn't that the one that's just like ultra chaotic and fast? But this part feels like it's almost building up to that. And if you think of the entire album and the arrangement of the songs in order on that album, that makes perfect sense. Especially when not many of BAND-MAID's songs prior to this have had that kind of element where there is chaos with the different instruments seemingly doing different things. So have one that's a little milder early in the album and save Black Hole for a little bit later so you can get used to it. Let's go. Okay, I think a bunch of that little, what looks like an instrumental break, I think in the song that happens behind the lyrics, doesn't it? Because I don't remember there being that type of instrumental break in the actual song, which we'll find out right after this. But that was just amazing, and now I'm kind of glad that I watched this first, because when the vocals are over that, you might hear little bits and pieces of it, but if you're not looking for it, not listening for it, you won't realize how complex the instrumentals are behind what Psyche's singing. That was just really impressive composition. Oh my goodness, and I'm only halfway through. Wow, let's go. Now I do remember this. I'm sorry, I know you can bend the strings, pull them to one side or the other to bend the pitch. But usually it's just a little bit, right? Or just to get a little bit of a wiggle out of the pitch. But man, I think she pushed that beyond the next note. And that's not something you hear every day. Okay, wow, that was something else. There were quite a few moments in there that I did remember. You may have seen in the expression on my face. I remembered the part where the music dropped out and I think Psyche's voice comes in where she says, I still believe the stories. I think I remember the part where the notes go da 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 da. I think she says something like, I'm greeting an angel, how you doing? Or something like that. So several of the parts in the music reminded me of what the lyrics were. But now I have pulled up the first one that I saw a couple of years ago, which is No God, the official live version. And this was, I believe, recorded in early 2021, so not long after the album came out. So for everyone who was missing Psyche in that previous video, she should be in this one. Let's go. Yeah, the little lines from Miku especially are ones that I remember from the first time that I heard this. The loo-la-loo, loo-la-loo, where she's not just using her voice as a musical instrument, which people often mention when talking about vocalists, but almost like percussion. It's not percussive sounds per se, they're actual syllables, but the rhythm of them makes it sound like a percussion instrument almost, but a very on-pitch one. And then the don't mix danger, handle with care, I remember that line. It has always stuck with me since the first time that I heard this song. And it sounds like it was just read off the label of, an epoxy canister or something. And I don't know how anyone else takes those mixing of seemingly non-related lines, vocal lines, But for me, it's really cool because it's almost like 2 or 3 separate trains of thought that are running at the same time, which is usually what happens to my brain when I'm trying to fall asleep at night. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to fall asleep because all, 3 or 4 different scenarios and questions are playing out at the same time. And that almost sounds like she took that stream of consciousness when they were writing these lyrics. I assume Miku wrote these lyrics. Okay, I actually just looked it up in the liner notes. It does say that the lyrics are by Miku Kobato. But unlike the previous album, this one doesn't say it in the kanji. Sorry, not kanji, but I think her name was part katakana and part kanji. But anyway, in this one, it's written in English, Miku Kobato. So yeah, she wrote the lyrics, and it, like I said, it sounds like she captured a really interesting train of multiple thoughts going at once. Let's keep going. As usual, the bass is a little bit more pronounced in this live recording than it was in that studio track. I assume that was just the studio track with the vocals pulled out. But here also with the vocals, I remembered the whoa-way-o, or whatever the exact line was, which always reminded me of the Bangles. There was, of course, a famous Bangles song from the 80s, which had a line very similar to that, and a pitch progression very similar to that. It always reminded me of that, which, if done intentionally, was a very nice nod to a former all-female rock band. Okay, I was wrong. There's not really a good spot to pause in this version either. But yeah, I was correct about that really cool instrumental breakdown that in this song, I didn't really notice it before because of the vocals over the top of it. But here, of course, I knew that it was going to happen, so I was looking for it. I also had forgotten the Miku line, "You are kidding, goodbye with smile," which I remember just loving the first time. Like, sometimes you just need to say that to somebody. Not that I ever have or ever will, but I certainly think it in my mind when speaking to certain people. Oh, that must have been incredibly exciting for those of you that were BAND-MAID fans at that time and logged in to see this live streamed concert. Obviously not as exciting as seeing them in person, but in the middle of the pandemic, apparently with, they had an increased level of shutdown there, lockdown in Japan, so they couldn't play the concert that they had intended to play and thought to do this instead. Like me, as a fan, had I been a fan at that time, I wouldn't have been able to go to that live show that they were planning anyway because it was in Japan and I was here. But this goes out all over the world. That would have just been really fun. I was also going to comment on Psyche's vocals since she's in this video and she wasn't in the previous one. But the thing that kept coming to my mind is how good of a vocalist you have to be when the music isn't matching necessarily what you're singing. Like almost all of us can sing along if the instruments are playing basically the notes that we're supposed to sing in about the same rhythm that we're supposed to sing them. Oh, some of us sound better than others, right? But when you look at professional vocalists, obviously the backing music isn't helping them that much like it would for me. Like I would need the guitar or the piano to be playing basically at least once the exact notes that I'm supposed to be singing. Otherwise I'll get lost. But not only are the instruments not playing the same notes that she's singing half the time, they're playing at a different rhythm than she's singing half the time. There were like polyrhythms going on there several points in this song, and she definitely showed herself to be one of those high-tier professional vocalists who just sings what she's supposed to regardless of the chaos going on around her. I'm not saying she's unique in that. I know hundreds, possibly thousands of, top-tier vocalists do that without even thinking about it, but it's still impressive to someone like me. All right, then in 2023, BAND-MAID released a second official live video of the same song, which, as I said in the introduction, I think is the only time they've ever done two official live videos. Now, I'm not counting the cases before I became aware of BAND-MAID, where apparently there was an official live of one song or another, and then now there's a different one, and the other one's not there anymore. But this one, both of them are still on their official channel. I'm just going to watch the second one, which I think is from the Tokyo Garden Theater. Let's go. Or maybe it'll say it on the screen. There it is, Tokyo Garden Theater. Okay, this one is definitely different because you can see that they're smiling directly at the crowd, which has to be different than smiling directly at a camera like I'm doing now. Of course, I probably couldn't do this if you guys were just sitting right there in front of me. That would be very weird. For what I'm doing, this is much easier, but for what they're doing, it has to be easier to do that kind of energetic performance with the vast faceless mass out there just, cheering and hopping and singing along with them. And you can tell the difference already, especially on the Lululu part. So let's go. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there, but clearly something got messed up or there was a miscommunication or something. But no matter what happens, you're a professional, you have to keep going, and they did. I will say that the audio sounded slightly better to me in my setup in the previous live video, but in this one, their facial expressions and body language is just so much more relaxed and full of enjoyment compared to the previous one, where they were also having a good time in that one, but you could tell that it was subdued. And here it feels like they're almost going all out, especially Miku and Psyche. Those two, the way that they react to the crowd, and of course they're the two front people. It's so obvious that they're playing a real show here. I just realized I didn't pause through like the entire last 2/3 of the song, which is unusual for me. And on a lot of bands would probably get you into copyright trouble or something. I didn't intend to do that. I don't like to just play the music video while I sit here in the corner. Otherwise, I could just watch the actual video. But I did notice an exception to what I said earlier. I don't think Misa cared whether or not the audience was there. Maybe she does, I don't know. But it looked like she was having just as much fun with or without the audience. Her expression looked identical to me in both videos. Concentration at points, enjoyment at points, relaxing into the music at points. Like many great musicians, Misa has taken what she does, to the fullest extent of its science and art, and it's just a part of her, and she does it, and it looks like she does it without thinking too much, and it's just flowing out of her, and she doesn't necessarily need the reaction of the audience or the distraction of the audience, but as far as I know, she enjoys it as much as anybody else. You just couldn't tell from looking at her. Now, I did find yet a third live video of BAND-MAID performing No God, but it wasn't on their official channel. It was from Yokohama Arena, and I will just say I'm not going to watch it right now, but it's not that I'm worried about piracy or anything like that. It's just I just watched 2 live versions of it in a row, and it's probably really good, but to keep this video short, I wanted to get to this one. I didn't know until just now that there was an acoustic version of No God, apparently from their Christmas concert in December 2021. I know they have acoustic versions of several of their songs. We've seen Puzzle, and I've seen a couple of others back when I first got into BAND-MAID. I'll get to some of them. I think another one is on the album Unseen World. Sayanakadori, is that on this album? If so, we'll get to that. I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, let's finish this out with the acoustic version of BAND-MAID No God. I have no idea what that song could possibly sound like acoustically. I'm about to find out. Oh my goodness, that sounds really good. I'm normally not a fan of, oh, you have to listen to the acoustic version because I like the rock guitar sound. But these two acoustics together, Miku and Kanami playing, that sounded really tight at the beginning, just perfect matching. They had to have practiced that so many times. And behind it, the bass is just the right level of deliciousness supporting everything. Sadly, in most of these, obviously the drums have to be brought back quite a bit, which I assume takes some talent in and of itself to withdraw all that power and hold it in check for the most part. Anyway, I'm pretty impressed with what they've done with it in the first minute. Let's keep going. I just wanted to say that I don't often see Akane mouthing along to the lyrics, but I saw her here several times. Not every time, some of the times when it showed her she was just playing, but I do often see Kanami mouthing along with the lyrics, even when she's not near a microphone, but Akane a little less so. Now, I don't think I've ever seen Misa do it. But anyway, it was cool seeing that since Akane doesn't have to do quite as much wild stuff as she does in the normal version of this song, she's just keeping up what seems to me to be a fairly tame beat. She felt a little bit more relaxed and was able to mouth the words in the background. But yeah, when I saw some of these in the past, I don't think I realized how much work had to have gone into it. This song maybe makes it more obvious how much work had to go into the acoustic version. Maybe because this song was so loud and frantic and chaotic to begin with, and here it feels very tightly controlled. Even in the parts where you know that it was more chaotic in the original, it still feels much more controlled here, and the syncing of the two guitars is still being really impressive to me, especially when Misa syncs up with the two of them as well. Yeah, I think a lot more work goes into this than many of us realized. at the risk of sounding like a cliche, I think that was the best version I've heard of any of the acoustic versions. And the cliche is, of course, that whatever the last BAND-MAID song you heard was, that's your favorite one. But that's not the case here. I don't think No God has eclipsed any of my, my previous top 5 as a favorite. But I was just saying, of the acoustic versions that I've heard, this one I think is my favorite of those. It was so much more clear to me in this version that they did a lot of work to make the song fit this acoustic format, this setup, this small room with only acoustic instruments, except obviously for Misa, who's not using a stand-up bass, or so it's not fully unplugged, obviously. But also the part at the end where they break and go slow. I know a bunch of people probably love that part of the song. I've never been that much of a fan of it until just now. In the acoustic version, that part sounded better than it did in the other version. And I don't know if they changed something, or if it's just because they're calmer and sitting down rather than dancing around or whatnot. I thought Psyche's voice sounded better in that section than she did in the, the original audio or the normal live audio. I thought the bass sounded different during that part. I thought Miku's harmony sounded better during the acoustic version. And all throughout, I was just really impressed with all the instruments. Like I said, with Akane, mostly impressed by the restraint. But everybody else, oh my goodness. And that's not even my favorite version of the song. I'm still never going to be one of those people that like, oh no, the acoustic version is so much better. You got to hear the acoustic version. If you are, that's fine. That's your taste. I get it. I almost always prefer the plugged in version. And that remains the case with this song too. But of all the acoustics that I've seen from them, this one takes the cake by far. Let me know what you think, whether or not you disagree, whether or not I said something that was incorrect. I'm always happy to be corrected so that I'm more correct in the future and so that I learn something. And I can't wait to keep moving on with this album. The next song on here is Afterlife, which I think I remember the official music video for that one. I believe that's the one where the video's in the maid cafe, or in the locker room of the maid cafe. Can't wait to get to that one. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.